Holy and going outside. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:33. I'm a few minutes late. Get over it. It's 7:17 and it's Thursday. Wow, the summer's just moving along. Anyway, I hope everyone's feeling good. I hope everyone is using their cheer system. I hope everyone is looking for setups, not looking for tops. It's one thing to be a little cautious here and there, but it's another thing to be prepared, have your levels, know what the pivot points are, know where the washout points are, know what things can happen. So this way, you're ready to go. And I know yesterday everyone's like, oh my God, the thieves stole my stock. The algos with the Powell's going to get fired and da 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 da. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, it's a little downside follow through. I'm like, if you sold some strength here, into that Nvidia chip news, right? If you got overly hedged, maybe you remember we went above a prior high, went as high as 627. Then what happened here? We broke 621.50. Maybe some people like to press things and short things. I know I had some premium sold, some puts on, came in, tested last week's low, which I've been talking about, held it, good spot to cover at least half. Who knew if we were going to fall apart? But then what happened? We reclaimed all these levels to go right back in the range to keep this upper channel intact, which I'd rather just stay in a channel and let stocks trigger, setups ignite, and be able to stay with things for 1 to 3 days and continue to make money, get prepared, and do our thing. That's what we do. We do our thing. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com, founder of Red Dog Mindset. Feeling good this morning. Got my sweat out, did 25-20 with my dogs from around the world. Talked a little bit about life, about the dog days of summer, about getting our mind right, controlling what we can control. Win the morning, win the day. If you're prepared enough, you can handle anything, because it slows things down, right? A quarterback during preseason, everything's moving so fast, the playbook, the defense, this, and that. By the time the season comes into fruition, you're a few games in, that same quarterback is, I could see the field. I could see the defense now. I could see my receivers running their routes. Why? Because they're prepared. Repetition. But anyway, with that being said, the sector, the upper level is still intact. Look at this 21-day, still above the 21-day. We've been above the 21 days since April 30th. It's been one hell of a move. I know for me, I'm just trying to continue to stack wins, stack days, make higher highs on my P&L and, just trying to enjoy myself a little bit, right? It's summertime. You better be enjoying yourself a little bit because life is too damn short. Anyway, the Qs also, Qs didn't even get down there, just held the range, got a little extended. If you sold some strength, which is one of my sell rules, you could have bought a dip and not much has changed. Massaging positions, even the IWM. I just hate to say IWM gave you a big move. And yes, it did have an outside day. And yes, if you sold some when it fell to hold 222, guess what? You could have bought some back when it went below 218.79 and held the 21-day, which it's been doing pretty much for multiple months. So how are you navigating this range? Are you looking for tops? Are you looking for setups? Or are you listening to everyone besides yourself? Better start listening to yourself. The only way you listen to yourself is if you learn how to read charts, learn a process, and put a lot of tools in your tool chest. But anyway, tonight, everyone's like, Red Dog, you playing Netflix? I'm not playing Netflix. Netflix is what? Netflix is tonight. It's very tight right here. Lately, it's been hard to make money doing call spreads and things like that into earnings, so I'm just not going to do it. If I were to do it, I would say, hey, maybe you could do a 13 by 1350 call spread. I don't know exactly what the cost would be, or just wait for the report to print. If it gets above, stays above 1341, you could trade that after hours. It's kind of priced for perfection from 821 to 1341. That's where you were in March. So it's going to need to be extra special. If it's like in line, chances are it's just going to be noisy. And then, maybe you have to, start mapping out some support areas, right? Like 1162 or 1128 or, but chances are, I'm actually going to be on the road to Baltimore today around 12 o'clock. I have one more basketball tournament with Chase. So I'm going to trade. I'm going to manage my positions, and then I'm going to, get on the road. How they respond to Netflix will be kind of, dictate a little bit of the sentiment for other Mag 7 probably. The Mag 7 has been fine. They're just not fast. Google, every dip I've been buying, and and rolling up options, and it's been working just well. It's not a lot of power. It's not so much fun, but we were buying the 175 calls here, went to 183, buying the 182.50s here, went to 184. It looks fine. It's just it's not fast. Amazon's not fast either. Amazon, every time it gets to this trend line, it kind of holds it. It's been a little bit of a pain, but look at the move. I like to buy high and sell higher, but that's not happening in Mag 7. You just need to continue to roll trades, but not everything's going to be so fast. Not everything's, Bitcoin, Ethereum, SBET, CRCL, all those things. But anyway, Bitcoin's been absolutely fantastic. We were focused on this pre-July 4th. My dogs were buying the $62 calls. I was buying it for 2 different weeks, in here, and then boom, sold most on Monday, Chichingo, whatever the hell that is. And then since I got down to 25%, I was able to start adding back here and then trimming some. Hey, isn't that nice? And now we'll see, what happens. Are we going to rebuild up here and continue? Bitcoin, itself, we were buying between 106, 107 for a break at about 112. Why wouldn't you sell 122s? Anyway, now it's just kind of letting the 8-day catch up, need some time. Ethereum's playing catch up. Look at that move. I started buying the options in here and then even added to it. And then yesterday or 2 days ago, I sold the 22s and I rolled into a higher strike yesterday, made money. And now Ethereum's, up a little bit still, kind of moving along, playing catch up. What a nice move. What a nice move. Nice moves. Look for nice moves, not for tops. SBET. Wow, I feel like a jerk. Why do I feel like a jerk? Because I sold this at like 24. I found that here. We were talking about this in the Alpha team and the 630 Club and whatever. And now here you are. But guess what I'm not doing? I'm not shorting it because I don't own it. There are some guys that are just trying to short this because, it's a frou-frou bullshit name. Anyway, you're probably not liking life a little bit. But anyway, maybe into here it's worth a look, but hasn't given you that. Anyway, I think I sold it on this day. No, this topping. Oh, this is where I sold the topping tail day. Anyway, doesn't matter. I carved out a nice move. The options were up 400-500%. You don't need to be in everything to make a living. But, some things are fast. If you want to play the fast ones, play the fast ones. Even CRCL yesterday. Look at that trade. Again, what do you take out of trades? Were you a buyer here at 210 yesterday? A lot of us were buying it. Some sold at 212, 214, 218. Some held a little bit. What's it doing today? It's down small. Not a big deal after the size of the move. Maybe this is on the radar to go right to green. But it was nice and tight after a big move to, from June, it reset up. Some stocks need to rebuild. When they rebuild, they become opportunities. Guess what? There's probably an opportunity in the CRWV. It's rebuilding. It gave you this. Remember this move here? Remember when it broke above 47, 64, 72, 125, hit 187, then corrected a bit? Well, now it's kind of, you could draw a little bit of a new pattern here where you have an upper channel. It's trying to, just say hold this gap from the Pennsylvania power grid gap. And, we'll see if it, wants to, get going again. But it just probably still needs time. In semiconductor land, where am I focused? Me and Conrad, my boy, we were focused on SMCI, right? SMCI the other day, remember, I looked good here. I was buying $52 calls and didn't quite get out of it, but I went out far enough where I didn't get out of it. And then boom, into this move, sold the $52 calls for a double. And into this pullback, I bought $55 calls for next week because I think this can go to 56 or more. So this has been good. And this is after we had a bunch of money trades in NVIDIA. Look at this NVIDIA. NVIDIA has been absolutely fantastic. If you're an investor for 10 years, congratulations. If you named your dog NVIDIA, pretty cool. My dog's name is Phoenix. But anyway, this was the spot. We were on spaces with, a bunch of the guys, and we were all crying about how, NVIDIA was taking its sweet butt time. And then boom, 146 through 149 went straight. Gave you nice follow through, held the 8-day, gave us a few more trades, and now it's holding this gap. Imagine that. Everyone thought, hey, it's a doji, Red Dog. It's an exhaustion doji. It's going to fill this gap. It's going to give you an eye on top, and the stock market's cooked. I'm like, that's an opinion, or it holds it, digests, and continues, and you give it some time. Anyway, it's been pretty cool. A lot of really good things going on in this market. You guys remember ASTS? ASTS. We were there. I'll be quite honest. I wasn't there for a big portion of this move. I wasn't. Sometimes you need a move to wake it up, to get it on the radar, and then you have to wait for another move. And this took its time. I remember right around here, everyone was yelling at me. They're like, this stock is, it's choppy, it's annoying, it sucks, da 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 da. I'm like, okay, it's not ready yet. And finally, it had a huge move. Okay. And guys could have bought 29 if they weren't tired, 35 if they weren't tired, 39 went to 54, gave you tremendous follow through. And then what did it do? It pulled back right into the 8-21 day. That's when I put it on as a power play. I put this on as a power play around 45 again. And at that point, I was buying options and I was buying more stocks. So the Alpha team knows when I'm buying options and stock, that means the thesis turns into a trade. And now here we are up near 52.69. I'll be honest, I would rather it hold here for a little bit. I'd like to see a high level flag develop before breaking through 54 to get in the 60s, but we shall see. But anyway, that was fantastic. Lots of different ways to play things, and this ASTS, thank goodness. If you could find this stock and learn how it trades, and you could feel it out and see when the volume's there and know the character. Like the last 3 days, we've sold a little bit and bought a dip. I bought a dip the last 3 days, just even down 80 cents. Added cash, went green, sold it, and stayed with the position. This has been absolutely tremendous. Oh my goodness, I have 42 comments. Okay, let's say hello to some of the dogs around the house. Oh, Hayden Martin wants to talk about ACHR. Ooh, and JOBY. Okay, well, JOBY was the one. A lot of people like Red Dog, I'm really mad at you. You didn't play JOBY. Gotta have a JOB. Remember that? What was that from? It was one of those comedians. But anyway, this led the way and helped me develop some size in ACHR. So I've been focused on this one. I've been buying $11 calls in this for this Friday and next Friday size. They were cheap as hell. And now I'm down to about half. It's going into 12.50, and I still think it takes out 13.92, but this has been a money trade. RDW also, is rebuilding. It hasn't even broken out yet. This is one of my institutional favorites that these guys are telling me it's going to be $30 this year. So if it's going to be $30, it's got to hold 14.70 and then take out 18.24, fill the gap, and go. It already had its money raised. It's already working through it. But anyway, so again, I never even knew what a drone stock was 6 months. But as a trader, you have to follow the money. You have to learn what's next, where the next leaders are coming from. There were guys yesterday that made a ton on RGTI. Look at that move. That's a gorgeous move. Now see if it holds 14 and continues all the way up towards the highs. But if that stock's going, there are other ones that look like they can go. So QBTS, look at this stock. Looks pretty good. It's building. So I've been buying this, and I think at some point it takes out 1977. We'll see. I'm in QUBT. Looks tight. So when things are tight, you want to accumulate them. When they ignite, you could add, and then what you want to do is piece out of it on the way up. Anyway, Oklo, Oklo looks good. I'm not really there. Some of the guys from the Alpha team are trading this. It had a really nice move. It was really tight. This is where you could have been accumulating it, and now maybe manage to trade back to 73. What a nice group. This NNE looks actually really tight. Looks like it. NNE takes out this $40. There's a nice little setup there. SMR. Look at that, already at highs. So looks like this NNE is lagging, but it's like the tightest one out of the bunch. But again, just different types of stocks. Kenneth Rosenberg, what to do this morning? Fully invested, yes. Would say that a gap sell some at 7 a.m. when Fidelity opens. Okay. Open. Biggest volume day yesterday ever. Tons of calls and leaps. All right, listen. We're going to take a look at that, Jay Rice. I see Jay Rice all the time. He likes to give ideas, and I'm going to take a look. So let's take a look. Open. Biggest volume day yesterday ever. That must have been pretty big. So let's look at that. Open. All right, Open Door. I've heard of that. What is Open Door? Am I dating myself? Okay. Woke up. That's what we call it. Question is it getting any follow through today? Let's see. It's above the moving averages. Woke up from this downtrend. Open. OPEN. Yeah. Oh, it's like a penny stock. Not a penny stock, but all right. it's up a little bit, up 30 cents, giving follow through. Actually, it's up 20%. So all you want to do is have stocks act well, play by the rules. And if this is the biggest volume day of the year, it should be up 30 cents. So congratulations. I actually bought this KITT yesterday. A lot of guys were like, hey, Red Dog, remember this name from back in the day? I was like, yeah, okay. I have a bunch of things on. I'll buy it. Look at that potential day one. Stock, obviously, you reverse for all the splits, and it's really just a piece of junk. But you know what? Day one looks good. I bought SERV yesterday. Day one looks pretty good. This is the one that Google invested in, I think, or I don't know if they still invest in it. Yeah, rare earth sector has been great. Shop. Okay, let me look at Shop because my other friend asked me to look at Shop. It's a nice, bullish engulf. This looks sloppy as hell, but nice bullish engulfing candle. I haven't traded this in a while since this pro earnings gap way back when. Yeah, Shop looks good. Above the moving averages. Big day yesterday. Held where it had to. When's earnings? August 6th, so it's got some time if it wants to do a pre-earnings run. I'm not there, but that looks pretty good. Kenneth Rosenberg says, SoFi has been sick. Chase, that's one of Chase's biggest positions. I should check out his Robinhood account because he's got a bunch of things going on. He's like, Dad, when's Apple going to move? Such a boomer stock. I'm like, Apple kind of is a pain in the ass, I know. But anyway, Apple's kind of tight here. Apple, we made a lot of money on this day. I remember I was on Spaces with those guys, and news came that they might sell their AI, whatever. And PS, it had a big move, and now it's trying to get tight again. I'm in some calls. I'm not trading the stock because the stock doesn't hold up. It doesn't play by, strong rules anymore. Right now, at least. While it's consolidating. But it holds 207. Apple might be, a decent look too. Toast. I bought options yesterday. When will this go? This has been toasting everybody up here. I bought some options. Sometimes when a stock is like this and it's like you're buying and it doesn't go, you're buying and it doesn't go, buying, just buy some options 2 weeks out. So this way you're not over trading it. So when it goes, you're there. I think I have the $46 calls for next Friday. Looks pretty good. Let's go. What's it doing today? Ooh, up $1.35. Sizzler. No, anyway, Sizzler. Is Sizzler still open? I don't think so. I passed a Red Lobster the other day in Pennsylvania. I haven't seen a Red Lobster since 1986. That's where I used to go for my birthday when I was a kid. It would be, Red Lobster in Hicksville. I grew up in Syosset. But anyway, UMAC looks pretty good. It's kind of absorbing, the big money raise. I don't know why I got out of it yesterday. I kind of I was like just kind of tightening up shop a little bit. Anyway, this looks good. This is what's his name? It's Trump's son's company. They did a money raise. They absorbed that pretty well. So it gets above 13.11. It can go. What's it doing this morning? Let's see. Why is Toast up 4%? Anyway, UMAC is doing what today? Yeah, it's up 10 cents. Looks good. Galaxy, GLXY. Woo! I messed this trade up so bad. I think when was I buying this? Guys from the Alpha team know when I was buying this and I got hurt. I think, where was it? I think maybe I was buying it up here and then that happened. Anyway, wow, big move. What's Galaxy doing this morning? You guys getting any follow through? GLXY. Little follow through. That's all you can ask for. Goes out strong, can sell some higher. What about Space? I haven't looked at Space since last Shavuos. It's hanging out here. What's Shavuos? I don't know. Anyway, these are the type of names that are getting a little frisky. So, yeah, why not? Yeah, XRP's been good. Quantum's decent. Yeah. What's QBTS doing this morning? Is it up a little bit or not? I bought a lot yesterday. 2 cents. BMNR, that's, you have to have thick skin for that one. BMNR. This is the one that had that huge move. It's like an Ethereum incubator company with Tom Lee. And I think I just read that Peter Thiel took a 9% stake. Sometimes they rebuild and go again. I would say keep this on the radar. Just know what you can handle there. All right, guys, listen, 6:52. I appreciate you. I have to do my 40 charts for the Alpha team. I have to write my note with an actual plan for all my go-to list names. I love hanging out with you guys here. Listen, and just so you know, you see that subscribe button? You guys better subscribe there soon. Otherwise, you might not be able to watch a 6:30 Club in the fall. been doing this since 2020. If I've made you money and you found value, it would come up and, we're going to doing a few things different. So, for $10 a month, which is what that is, I don't know. That's not even, this cost me $5 today. And I think I broke a 10 and I gave her a tip. So for today, you pay for an entire month of the 630 Club or Red Dog Mindset so you can execute with confidence, because there's a lot of people heady out there. A lot of people have tried things when it didn't work and then didn't go back to them when they did work. A lot of guys have been short in this move. There's a lot of guys are just not playing by the rules. I don't understand. APLD, I looked at it the other day. Looks pretty tight. This is one of the companies that I think NVIDIA invested a bit in. I like it. Keep ignoring Ripple. I'm not ignoring Ripple. I want you to make all the money, Nelvis. I'm in Ethereum. I'm in IBIT. I looked at Ripple when it was 2.25, and I just kind of missed it. But I was also in MSTU at the time. I was in SBIT at the time. Can't kiss all the babies. If you get too spread out, you'll be too frazzled. So for me, I didn't need to be in it, but thanks for, pointing that out. Want to talk about my dead squirrel? I'm kidding. I did have a squirrel when I was a kid. Anyway, they would call me Red Squirrel. I'm like, no, Red Dog. I'll see you guys later. Good luck. It's Thursday. Thirsty Thursday later. I'm only here for half a day, then I'm heading to Baltimore.